Hi, Next to Change, Vivian here. Be sure to like and share this video if you find the content useful. Please subscribe if you enjoy the Next to Change videos. I want to talk about toxicity, and I know a lot of people talk about toxic people and what have you, but I was really thinking about the fact that toxic people are not only just bad and bring you down, but a lot of times a toxic person can just really waste a lot of your time. I was listening to some music this morning on a YouTube video, and in the comments there was a woman that said, "Oh, I wish I were 30 again, but I'm not," in a sad face. And then she went on to talk about how she had wasted her time in a relationship, being with someone so long who was very toxic. And so I was thinking about it, and I thought, if you can spot toxicity really fast, it'll save you a lot of time. A lot of times you end up with people or, friendships, romantic relationships, and what have you, partnerships, anything. And a lot of times, if you're a good person, and I'll say generally a lot of people are, if you have empathy, if you have compassion, understanding and all that, a lot of times you'll give a person a second chance. And so while those are noble qualities, those are qualities also that can be carried out to a fault and cause us to miss out on a lot of things, because we spend a lot of time second chancing people, and second chancing awful people. So I want to talk about some of the things you can look for to determine whether or not this is going to be a toxic relationship. And the sooner that you flag those things and get away, that's time you will save for yourself. And the first one is competition. So, if you're in a relationship with somebody and there's a lot of competition, that's a lot of toxicity. And what that competition usually looks like is, wanting to one up the other person, and sometimes it's even setting up a straw man to knock down just so that you can be on top of that person. And the whole thing behind, because there's healthy, of course, competition, but then there's unhealthy competition, right? And so the unhealthy competition is really, the whole bottom line is to put themselves for that person, that competitive person, to put themselves in a position of superiority. So the set out is to make you feel inferior, so that then throughout whatever the relationship is, they can dominate it all the way through. So they're competing about, it could be, who has the better house, who has the better car, who makes the most money. Or it could be subtle competition, where, as soon as you're talking to someone, say you're talking to someone on the phone and you say, I went to this restaurant yesterday and it was really good. And before you can even finish your sentence, they jump in and say, "Yeah, I went to this restaurant last week and it was really good, and it was this," and they just usurp everything that you were going to say. They want to compete. If you say that you like a particular food, they're going to say, "Well, I like this food because this one's even better." If you say, "Well, I like this kind of milk," they're going to say, "Oh, well, this is better," but they won't have any real reason to say it. "I like, this car," and then they want to compete. Well, this car is a better car, and the quality of, it goes on and on. So they're always competing. You can find people like that at work. You have an idea and they run with that idea, and before you know it, they're spreading the idea like it's their idea, but it's just because they're competing with you. So just people that just garden variety competition, is really toxic, because then you get yourself in a, now you have to one up them. So either in a relationship like that, you're going to always just let them override you and just put themselves way up here and put you way down here. And it'll be like that because some people will just want to keep the peace. So they just let that happen. So in the relationship, they're dominated. In the relationship, they're inferior, in the relationship, because they might see it frivolous and they might see the pettiness in wanting to compete with somebody over and over and over. And it also becomes tiresome. So those people that you always have to one up, and now they have to best you. And so then now you have to best them, and now they have to best you. That's toxic. And even if you don't want to play that game and you allow them to do that, that will erode on your self-esteem. The second thing is that they downplay your successes. Real friends, they rejoice when you rejoice. If you have a victory, they're happy for you. When you're doing something, they support it. But then you have those people that downplay your successes. So for instance, let's say you get a promotion on a job, and instead of them saying, hey, you got that promotion, you did a great job, they'll immediately say something like, well, it's about time you've been on that job forever. So they downplay it. Or, well, that's because the supervisor likes you. Again, downplaying it. Or anything that you do that becomes a success or becomes a victory, they have to put something in to minimize that accomplishment. It only happened because they don't, they make sure to try and let you know that it didn't happen on your own, because of your own working, your own merits. It's because something else is going on. I remember one time when I was fighting in a competition, doing very well, and it was martial arts, a competition, and I won the competition. And I remember the instructor that I had was jealous, right? He would be jealous of my victories. And I remember when it was over in the fight, I was getting so many people congratulating me about what a great job I had done. And I remember thinking, well, what's he going to say? And he didn't congratulate me. What he said was, I was so afraid because, it just really, it just really looked like you were going to get hit, and, your timing just was so off. And I was looking around to see if anybody else noticed it. So there he is, right? That's downplaying my successes. And, people will do that. They will do anything that they can to downplay your success. And again, it's all part of them feeling some type of fear on the inside. And then it's again to bring you into an inferior position. Also, they undermine your confidence. So that's a third thing they do. So what does that look like? That looks like, it's almost like downplaying your successes, but it's more really even to bring doubt to you. So, the more sure you are of yourself, right? You will have more confidence, right? Because you gain confidence by becoming sure about something. And so what they want to do is they want to knock the legs off that thing. So what that looks like is, for instance, if they'll look at different points that they might feel like are your strong points, and those are the points that they want to knock down and to take your confidence away. So for an example, it could be your physical appearance. So if they think that you have a nice physical appearance, they probably feel that other people think it, and they might think that you think it. So they want to deal with that and squash that right away. So, for instance, if you're going out, you're dressed nice, and you open the door, and they see you, and instead of saying, "Oh, that's nice," they look and they say, "Oh, I thought you were wearing something else." With this great look of puzzlement on their faces. And you're wondering, well, why did they think I was wearing something else? I never even told them what I was wearing. So why would they think you were wearing something else? So it's automatically to plant a seed of doubt. The first thing you say, if somebody says, "Oh, I thought you were wearing something else," with a face like that, you're looking down like, why? Is there something wrong with what I have on? No. And then they might say something like, "No, I just thought maybe you were gonna, dress up a little bit." Or if you're really dressed, I've had a friend, and I've been really dressed, and that person looked at me and said, "Oh," and cracked a joke about me being overdressed, which I wasn't. They weren't. I mean, they were just as dressed as I was. But again, it's to put the doubt in there. They want to undermine your confidence. They might do it by, the way you speak. If you're an orator and you do speeches and you do certain things like that, they might listen to that. And when it's over, then they'll say, "That was good. I've seen you do better. I've seen you do better." And of course, the better the job you do, the more they seek to undermine your confidence. They want you to believe that you can't communicate. And a lot of times too, I'll say that the thing that they come over is the thing that they might really have a lot of difficulty in doing themselves, right? So if they're not a good communicator, or they're not social, or they don't have a lot of friends, or things like that, if you do, that will be a good target for them to undermine your confidence. And they'll begin to say things like, "Oh, I heard you talking to that person, and you really were, unclear. You made yourself unclear." That's a situation that I can think about that I've had before. And I'm pretty sure that you have had those situations before too, where maybe they've heard you talking on the phone, and when you hung up, they said, "Oh, well, why did you say that? I think you confused the person. I would have said this." And again, it's to bring doubt about yourself. It's to bring doubt about how you think. They'll use words to tell you when you're done that you were unreasonable, or you're irrational, or that you just that you're wrong, that your information is wrong, and you can look it right up and find, and see that you were right, but then they'll say you're wrong without even knowing whether you're wrong or not. So the point is, they'll do things to undermine your confidence. Another thing is that they will bully and insist. So, people that do that, they are people that they want to harm you, intimidate you, or coerce you into something, because somewhere they feel that you're vulnerable. So it could be your personality, and a lot of times it is, because toxic people usually cling to people with mild and calm personalities. If you're a person that's toxic yourself, you probably won't have a lot of toxic people clinging to you. But if you're a person that's usually calm, no drama, you don't like conflict, you try to have a good heart, you try to have character, you try to do the right thing, you're the perfect target for somebody to try to bully you into doing things. And so those are people that are usually loud, they're usually aggressive, they're used to pushing people up to getting their way. And so that's the friend that wants you to go to a party that you really don't feel comfortable going to, and they insist, and they taunt, and they tease you, and they bully you practically into going with trying to, they bully you with insults, they bully you with shame. They bring up things to try to make you, again, feel inferior if you don't go. So, or they'll bully you into, that's one thing, going into places that you don't want to go. Also, bullying you into doing things that you don't want to do. And they may physically try and bully you. They may kind of like a subtle blackmailing you into trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do. But yeah, if you can spot toxicity, it'll save you a lot of time. So as soon as you see that, you know it when you hear it. Stop excusing it. And you feel all those things in your body. So when you see it, adios to that person and save yourself a lot of time. This is Vivian from Next to Change. See you next time.